you all started heading back down to the deeps. You let your friend Thar go. There was a little conversation because I was eating like massive shit with all my my equipment, like eating dirt. Was between Beavis and Balor?
Yeah, we RP'd, but the end result was that Beavis is okay with his decision as long as he promises there was a reason for it.
Okay, right. It's just that you don't know what that was.
Yeah.
Which Balor out of character explained.
Yeah.
Cool. So you head down to the deep, and Thorgil, do you know your way around here well, semi-well? Like, I'm asking this just, like, I know a lot of your background, but
yeah.
Like, do you feel that you would lead them, or are you gonna seek out like someone to?
I'd probably err on finding someone too, because he went down there a couple times, like as a kid, but that was years and years ago. And these days, he only goes down one specific path.
Right, exactly. Cool. So, yeah, you guys begin to. Oh, that was something I forgot to open. No momentito. I have this giant fucking PDF with all my shit about Gazneg because Gazneg deserves its own fucking file.
Yeah, this place is big.
It's unique.
I can actually show you most of. I think I could show you all of this later. It's something that you guys might be interested in. At least, I think Balor, I sent the file to you. It's the town file that I made, the city and town file.
Yep.
But you can see like how I wrote stuff in and stuff for examples. Anyways, yeah, so you head down to the deep, the mines of Gazneg. You all know, or at least it's been explained to you in some reasonable capacity, that this the major income, the major material that Gazneg gets out of here is gems, crystals, and things like that. Part of the reason that they have these iron golems and whatnot. Metal is not one of their more primary sources. If they do have metals, it's more soft metals like gold and silver versus the classic like mithril mines of Moria concept. For that kind of thing, you go.
Where do we get?
You actually get it imported. So you basically have a 1-to-1 trade gold ratio with the dwarves. Up in the mountains because your cousins basically
and they need what we have and we need what they have, and
exactly, and so you trade back and forth, minus cost expenses, etc. But pretty 1-to-1 as far as things go to basically bolster, because a lot of, and Beavis, you would know this too, a lot of the business done between the mountain dwarves is actually done through Gazneg because it's easier for the human city to get up to Gazneg than it is to get up to the dwarves, and the mountain dwarves really just don't like people in general.
So they're happy to have us as a go-between.
So a lot of like the merchants and vendoring is done in Gazneg, and there's a Gazneg tax and things like that.
And in Gazneg, the dwarves down deep have the gnomes as a go-between, so the dwarves in general have been able to stay away from.
And that's why they have this good relation with the gnomes, is because the dwarves really just don't like dealing with people.
Okay.
And so they get along with the gnomes, even though the gnomes are kind of annoying. They're less annoying. They're the lesser of all evils as far as
they're like an annoying younger brother instead of
of the douchebag frat boy at a at a bar. Like that's how they view like most humans, I guess. Yay! We're gonna add that to the lore somehow later. Gonna randomly have a bro walk
so
up
we're
to
in the
guys.
deeps heading towards like the last known location of a missing person.
Well, that's what I ultimately was kind of figuring.
Missing peoples
There's missing peoples.
Yeah.
So I was asking Thorgil, are you doing this on your own, or are you going to get like a foreman of the mines to take you down to where these people have been missing? And that was when he said that. So you head down, and quickly you run into Thorgil. You at least remember like where the mine shafts go versus like the ancestral home shafts, to basically run into someone and get directions. And It takes a little bit down. And to give you an idea, like we're talking, I don't know who's done cave splunking, but like we're talking like almost like 35, almost 40-degree angles for a lot of this to travel downward. Like it's steep as
It's
fuck.
not terribly accessible.
It's very not accessible. Which, I mean, and it definitely, like, a lot of the tunnels are also not very well built for tall people. So there are numerous times where Valar and Riley, you straight up have to get on your knees and crawl through locations because even the dwarves and the gnomes would duck through places.
Nothing I'm not used to.
As far as things go, yeah. So you kind of got that the stone. It's got that cold, like it's wet, but it actually isn't wet feel to it. And you know, down here, and I think probably like the more notable thing is like where in some of the upper regions there were lots of stalagmites and stalactites and things. Occasionally, when you do get to a cavern, you see remnants of what were crystals, and now it's just like kind of like it's been completely like mined out, and so there's like nothing, and it's dry. It's not wet. The water from above does not get down this deep into the,
so this
into
is
these
below
caverns.
like the water table.
Right.
Okay.
This is where the stone is so thick that the water table doesn't exist, so to speak. Breathing is now extremely hard, even for Beavis and Thorgil, who used to live and sometimes go down to these areas. You've been out of town for a long time, so even you're feeling it. Steven, it's like when you go up north and then you come back to Florida and you get off the plane,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Your lungs are wet.
Yeah. Well, you're going from wet to or dry to wet.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. You okay there, Bella?
Everybody went robot for a second for me.
Oh.
I guess I'm fine now.
Are we still robot? We're good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you kind of get that, and eventually you reach, you run into a number of dwarves direct you in different ways over, and eventually you find yourself to a foreman who's wearing these giant goggles wrapped around his head, and big nose, and then a very yellow straw-like beard. Not braided or anything like that. It's a little bit wild, but you see that he's tucked it into his belt, and so there's a little bit of fluff coming out from his belt, but it seems to keep it close to his body. And he looks at you and he goes, "Oi, what are you lot doing down here?"
Thorgil?
Official investigation.
Alright, we're here on the orders of the general to investigate the missing persons. Could you help show us around?
He quickly like looks at his what is essentially like a medieval clipboard, and then he looks up at you and he goes, "Right, as soon as I get all of these fucking things done for the day, I don't have time for this. You already came down here investigating the peoples. Nothing come of it."
Wait. What?
Well, I don't think he means us specifically, but like
He means like the Mithril Guard, not
Okay.
you, as in like
That'd be
someone
pretty
has
funny,
been
though.
as an imposter of you. Yeah,
I was
nothing like that.
Wait.
Yeah, he's not doing that.
recently or not recently? Like, is this?
Well, you know, someone shows up every fucking time someone disappears. We got 5 missing people down here. And, well, I'd love to have them back. Who knows what happened to them?
Do you have any theories?
Monsters, shafts, stupidity.
Well, I mean, I know it's dangerous down here, but this is a lot of disappearances in a relatively short period of time.
You're fucking right it is, but if there's a predator down here eating the people, well, That's the Mithril Guard's job, and they ain't doing nothing about it.
Alright, do you have a map, and can you point us directly where we need to, roughly where we need to go, at least?
Yeah, I can do that for you. And he pulls out he's got like a kind of like a back fanny pack with stuff, and he unzips it and he pulls out like a stack of, just a huge stack of folded papers, and he's like, no, 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 no. Ah! And he quickly unfolds one and he goes, here you go. Here's all the shafts. And he's got it marked with like red X's where there's been like people that disappeared in certain shafts. You know, like, and you see like -1, -1, and then like one of them slashed out, and then you see a -2, and then it slashed out, -3, and then one of the ones slashed out and then turned into a -2.
Oh, those, like, the number of people in those locations? Ooh.
Which to you seems the most suspicious?
He like shrugs a little bit. He goes, not really my job, gnome. However, if I was going to take a guess, I'd pick the one with the most people missing. And he points at like the -3. By the way, Balor, you got like see in the dark, like super fucking powered. Okay.
Yes.
Riley, you're a no-go.
I have no dark vision.
So
I think you're the only one without dark vision.
I am the only one without. Me and Nate, just can't see in the dark.
yeah. So as far as this goes, do you light a light at any point down here?
I mean, I have light as a cantrip.
Okay, so like you lit some object, right? As like with your cantrip to kind of like keep yourself.
Yeah, you know,
like,
Thorgil. I lit up Thorgil.
Yeah.
If I make illusory fire, does it shed real light?
Yes, because it's an illusion.
So, like, if I made a fake fire,
You can
it
use.
actually spread some amount of light?
So if he uses minor illusion to create a small fire,
I'm gonna say yes.
Unless it's like
what that's
magical darkness.
I'm gonna say that basically what it's doing is it is understanding that you can see in the dark, and so you are basically projecting what that light would indicate.
Oh.
Because
okay.
there would be, because like, and I'm totally like fucking spinning this because there is no fucking rules for this in D&D.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's illusory, it can't actually shed light. So what it's essentially doing is it's artificially shedding light to what you understand of the surroundings. Because ultimately, what I'm saying it can't do is you can't be like, I have illusory fire, and now I, as a human, I can now see in the dark. Like, it can't do that. But what you are basically doing is you're creating fake light to transmit through the illusion what you as an actual person that can see in the dark can see.
So I'm tricking Riley into
Seeing reality.
I like that. All right, then. Do I notice you kind of like a little bit?
Well, at a certain point,
at ease, Riley.
I can't see in the dark though. That's the thing. I don't
Do
have.
know that.
Yeah, I mean everyone knows that lizards can't see.
Yeah. I guess I would know that. Then I guess I would kind of like be a little like thoughtful, and I would say I'm gonna try something real quick, and I would like snap my fingers, and I'd be holding a torch. How's that for you?
An illusory torch, yeah.
Yeah.
What difference does that do? So that doesn't do anything for me. That it just.
You can see now, right?
Yeah, you can see what his torch gives off. I mean, you can cast a light spell, but he's testing this illusory light.
So because his illusion is making me perceive more.
Because the way my magic works is it messes with your head, so I can see. So if my illusion is that there's light here, now I am putting.
Oh.
Your head.
Okay, I always thought it was the other way around.
Actually, his magic is
It's
transmitting
crazy. I like
his
that.
understanding of the surroundings so that when it projects this light,
Okay.
it's reality to you because it's an illusion. It's actually using realistic situations around him because he understands it then.
Okay, so because he
You haven't read Dresden Files, have you?
Nope.
I'm really curious.
I
What part of
believe
the
there's
dress?
filtration
what
like
connection
that.
did that make?
Yeah, where's this? I want to know where
when-
this is being linked.
I think there's at one point when he's in the dark, but you remember when Lash was in his head, and she would like
Oh,
It's
yeah.
exactly
okay.
like
what
Lash.
he remembered. Yeah, exactly.
Because she understands and perceives the world beyond what he can, and so she transmits it to him.
That's the fallen angel from the coin, right?
Yeah, from the coin.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly how that works, Storgill. Exactly how that works.
Cool. All right, total sidetrack, but I'm excited.
So I can see, based on what Beavis
Based on what
perceives.
Beavis can see.
Okay, I mean, I'll roll with that.
And, except for, like, technically Beavis could make it, like, whatever color he wanted, or, like, weird tints, like... Because, actually, that's an interesting thing. Beavis, what does it say about your dark vision? Because there's actual, like, rules about dark vision for different types of peoples.
Yeah, some people it's like
Some see it
grayscale.
only in gray, some see it in
Red.
the
60 feet
thermatic
is if it were
spectrum.
bright light. I can see within 60 feet as if it were bright light, and if it's completely dark, I can see within 60 feet as if it was dim light. In full darkness, I can't discern color.
There
So
you
if
go.
it's,
So,
if it's fully black, I see shaded gray. If
so
it's
that's
just
actually
dark,
the weird thing is like he creates this torch, but you see nothing but grayscale when it comes out. Because that's the best that he can. And like I think maybe like he adds a little bit of color, but it's only like what he would think is proper color.
Oh, well, this is a bit weird.
The occasional
stuff.
patch of polka dots, just for fun.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's always like that weird thing where like colors, like where it's like someone over color saturated a picture, and you're like,
That's not right.
no, that's not right. Like you get kind of that where it's like it's too vibrant. Like everything should have like a yellow film to it from the warmth of the flame, and everything's like crystalline clear.
Why is this fire a halogen bulb?
Yes. Meanwhile,
So-
because we spent like 20 minutes talking about
Yeah.
illusory torches. It
So-
cool
We
to-
move on,
to
we
think
move
about.
on.
Let's move on. Yeah, so basically what he hands you is he hands you a map. And on the map is a number of different shafts. And I think just because it would be hilarious, there's like shaft 1 through 37 on this map. Just because there's like fucking 4 million shafts that the dwarves like go down into and do these mining. And each of them have like weird dwarven runes. Who knows dwarvish? Obviously the dwarf. Beavis, I expect.
I do.
You can tell that this is kind of like a dwarven shorthand to like basically discern depth, number of people per shaft required, and material pulled from the shaft. When you see that the two shafts that had the multiple people missing are right next to each other, missing total 5 people, -3 and -2 in like red. I'm thinking like that like wax pencil type thing on the map, and on it also it has the rune for exploration next to it, and then material like when it has like the dwarven M equals, and it just has a big question mark.
So they're new. They're new rooms.
Yeah, they're newer.
They're newer rooms.
So maybe
So we
end up into something's lair.
So we
or-
definitely want to head down there.
Yeah.
Quite possible.
Oh,
Okay.
Alright, what are we waiting for?
shit. We should have slept or something after we left my house.
You can take a short rest if you want, but that would be the extent of it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's all I need.
Okay, short rest if anyone wants it. I'll consider that like travel time because you guys aren't like fucking booking it or anything like that, and you're in a city, so it's not too difficult.
Clearly, you've never
so if
been
you
to
want,
DC.
You can do hit dice.
Okay.
For you, Steven, you would get
Yeah,
back
get some.
whatever. I think it's like
Yeah.
your level equivalent of like your level halved rounded up or something as a wizard.
That sounds right, and you know more than I do, so I'm going with it.
I
Yeah.
literally just made a wizard today for the Goblin campaign, so.
Okay, so yeah, I'll take that. That's actually
It-
exactly enough to bring me back up to full. So I
So it
essentially
would
just took
be
a long rest.
3 spell levels worth,
Sweet.
which you can allocate any which way. It's
Yeah.
like your ring, basically.
I only used one level 3 spell. So.
There you go. Boom.
Yeah.
It's back.
Wait,
Someone's shooting off fireworks.
wait a minute. It just occurred to me. Nate said that everything was finally quiet. and he still hasn't hopped in here yet.
Oh, he messaged me. He said that he's just gonna call it quits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was already like 10 o'clock. or 10:30.
He says that the sensor's a piece of shit. I'm gonna pass out this evening. I don't trust my house. Not to fuck up again. Sorry, amigo.
Fair enough. Okay. Okay.
Because I think he's really like he's like I think it's just the machine, but I really am afraid that there's actually an issue in the house, and so like he's like kind of like dancing that, and like which really sounded weird because he's like, I think I'm just gonna go to sleep, and I'm like, that's the last thing you want to do with a CO or
Yeah.
CO house. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to sleep and never wake up again.
Yeah, we should maybe make him play. If he's
Yeah.
sleepy, that might be a bad sign. Alright, so our biggest, our best idea is to head to these new shafts and just kind of poke around until we find something where we get attacked.
Yeah.
Thorgil, for you, I want you to do an investigation check for me, because this relates just to you.
Okay. For
Investigation.
what?
I'll tell you what, depending on.
No, you won't tell him anything.
Something seems weird about how this map looks, and you're not quite sure. Something like itches at the back of your brain, but you can't figure out what it is. It's like that, like where you're like trying to remember that word that you were about to say to make you sound intelligent, and then like you forget the word, and then you look like a bigger dumbass because you forgot the word. You're like, oh, and then you forget what that O was about.
Also, you're pretty sure you're underground right now.
Well, that's a perception roll, and that's
Oh, okay.
passive perception tells him that he's underground.
How do I get a low? It's what, 10 plus your wisdom modifier plus your proficiency bonus?
Plus proficiency bonus if you're skilled in perception.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. I was just curious because I'm like, how can I make an incredibly obtuse character just unperceptive at all?
Side note, I helped one of my Sunday group, which, Steven, you'll meet tomorrow.
A lot of them, or?
He remade you'll meet the whole crew tomorrow, as well as some of the girlfriends.
I already hate them.
And one of them asked if I would help him build a druid, and his druid has a 21 passive perception.
Dear God! Was he have a 20 wisdom?
Oh wow.
He has an 18 wisdom, but he also took a feat of alertness to give him a +5 passive perception to wisdom. And he's skilled in it.
Right. I seen that.
So literally, he perceives better than most people passively than most people could roll.
He just knows what's happening.
He looks at you and he knows your social security number. Like the description that I gave him.
Dear
And he was
God.
like, "What would I take?" And I'm like, "This." And he goes, "What?" I'm like, "How does a 21 passive perception sound?" He goes, "Fucking phenomenal." I'm like, "You are literally Superman with X-ray vision at all times." Like, I can't hide traps from him for the most part. Like, only the most ingenious trap makers will ever be a problem.
Maybe.
I'm literally gonna have to like hide things. He's a human, so I'm like, it's dark. You literally can't see the traps. Like, fuck your passive perception.
You have to create.
You know, I have considered getting that feat.
It's a damn good feat. People really don't understand how good that feat is. Yeah, Thorgil would be one that would take it because he's got stupid high wisdom. Like, wisdom characters take alertness.
And then just like 1 point of.
Yeah, if I took it, I would have 21.
There you go.
And then the 2 points a monk, and then, he just can't get hit.
Well, alertness is just adding to the passive.
Yeah, but if he's got 18 wisdom, he's not going to get hit if he's got 2 levels of monk.
Yeah, but he can't wear armor, so.
Oh, that would screw him.
Or a shield. Barbarian, you can wear the shield, but then it's...
Couldn't I use
like
a
how it
shield
does.
as a wizard? That's not gonna mess with me.
You're not proficient in it, I don't think.
You're not proficient, and then shields.
Pick up a proficiency.
You can
Yeah.
pick up the proficiency for it.
How does that
Anyways,
work? Yeah.
you spend
Feet.
ability points at every 4th level. Anyways, so you guys head over to the... I love how we've had like these weird exposés.
Yeah.
We still have.
At least in the second half. So you guys head down to the dwarven area where they're doing the exploration, and I think this would be fun. Here we're about to go on another expose. Thorgil, how do dwarves recognize that they are down in a mine shaft? Like,
Well, they're underground, duh.
well, so here's what I'm thinking, and Thorgil, like, you can say exactly like that, or you can come up with something else. I kind of think like the old school coal miner thing, where like they put the chips on the board that like have like their names attached, and then when they come out, they pull their names from the board, kind of thing.
So like time clock.
Kind of
Yeah,
like a time
I like
clock
that.
thing, but like in some way, like their name or like something is like beaten into like a metal, like a dog tag kind of thing, and then hung on a hook outside of that mine shaft to indicate that they're either down there still
that
or
dog
come
tag.
out.
Exactly.
Cool. Yeah. So there's like there's you see outside of these things, there's like these dog tag type things, and I think maybe they're a little bit longer because I kind of view like Dwarven script, at least Tolkienized, is very Japanese in nature, where it's like this vertical writing a lot of times, which is really bugged me about the Tolkien or the movies, because like everything was like crossways, but if you look at it, it's all vertical in the books. Anyways, so I think like they're these long strips about maybe like 3-4 inches with like their dwarven names and in their runic language, and what do you guys do? Are you looking to go down into the mine shafts? Are you waiting for people to come out? What's the dealio?
Well, Beavis
Has
is the
anybody checked
definition
in?
of curiosity killed the cat.
Yes, everyone's checked it because you're in the middle of the day, so there's full teams down there.
Is there a notation of which shaft they're in?
Well, the way that I feel is like you're at what I'm going to kind of assume is like the junction between the two where people have been missing, because
Okay.
they're literally like two shafts right next to each other going in different directions down deeper into the earth, and the boards are up, which is essentially like there's no reason that they'd have wood this deep down, but basically it's just like basically nails, like kind of like slanted up nails where they're hanging the pegs with their dog tags, their dwarf tags are hanging from the nails.
Their time card.
Alright.
Yeah, they're time.
I would like to do a history check related to the origin of stonework of these tunnels,
Absolutely. Cool.
because that gives me double proficiency bonus.
Okay, cool.
8.
Woof. So you're basically just wanting to know about the stone?
Yeah, like when the tunnels were built, were they recent or anything? Basically, is what I'm going for.
So you know that earlier, I'm gonna do a little bit earlier and then leading into it. You know that a little bit earlier on, it was old tunnel work, and that these were quite literally new tunnels made. This isn't very uncommon for dwarven work as a whole, because they constantly have to be chasing new locations. A lot of the Gazneg minerals, because they're not particularly looking for gold and silver, those are more like byproducts, like kind of side projects that they run into down here. What they're essentially doing is they're trying to find caverns where these crystalline formations happen, where they can find the quartz and whatnot down in these nether regions. Diamonds are particularly a commodity, and they're looking for these giant caverns, like you have walked through previously that I talked about, to then basically scrape clean all of that crystal or mineral, and then haul it out. But this is fresh. You can tell from the mining structure that it's not like super fresh, but it's you got a what, an 8?
Yep, you got an 8.
Sometime within the last 3 months.
Yep.
That's the best that you can estimate. And then I'll say, like, just to clarify to everyone so that you guys don't go off on some weird, like, odd tangent. That means 3 months or earlier, but based on an 8, he doesn't know how early.
Okay.
But 3 months recent.
Okay.
That way you guys don't be like, well, obviously it's 3 months. Technically, it could be earlier.
So,
Technically, it could be a little bit later.
so if I drop this illusory torch down the shaft, and Beavis can't see down the shaft
You
yet.
would see for 60 feet, and then it would stop.
And then it would go black.
No, like Beavis. Say Beavis hasn't seen the shaft yet. Like seen down.
Oh. Yeah, like if I'm standing far enough back that I can't see down it, yeah, I think as soon as you drop it out of my sight, it wouldn't shed
Right,
light
because this
anymore.
isn't like a major illusion. Because like
Yeah.
one of the things is when we get into like the complexities of the illusion, major illusion
Actually generates.
is so powerful it actually generates.
I know. I was just curious as to what the ramifications of just
Right.
Beavis can't
But,
see.
If Beavis
Does it
is
just?
far back and you drop it down a shaft, the moment that it leaves what he could reasonably see, black.
Okay, I was just curious as to what would happen there.
There's a paradox in the world of moves.
This is why the other day I was asking if anyone knew anything about string theories, because I wanted to actually flesh out like how magic worked through the use of string theory
And
in
It's
D&D.
confused things.
Okay, well,
it makes so much sense. Like I went on this like drunken tangent with my dad about how magic worked in D&D through string theory the other day. But like I'm like only like 101 string theory, and so I need like that like junior senior level string theorist to like truly flesh out the concepts of it.
okay, so we're standing at a parting of ways here, correct?
Yeah. Are you gonna split the party?
Yeah,
Ooh.
we send Baylor down one, we send Thorgil down the other, we see who comes back alive, and we don't go down the other one.
Yeah. No, we need to go down. I guess whichever one had
More people?
notation for more people missing. Yeah.
Yeah. I choose that one.
Good pick.
Okay. So, give me 1 second because I forgot to switch this over to the deep. Matt,
Oh.
we've been on this one before.
I don't remember seeing this, to be honest.
No, I've seen this.
I forget easily.
I think
so.
This was a
your-
while ago.
I
We
went down
moved
by
it onto
myself.
this when Thorgil went to visit his parents.
Hmm.
Because remember, his ancestral tombs are down in the deeps.
Right.
This is why I thought there were bridges that cross the chasm up higher, and then John said no, it's only when you get down low and the chasm's like closer.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And we can quickly, just to clarify that, like, we can go to up here.
There's a
So,
bridge.
Like, there are occasionally a bridge, but as you see, like, overall, there's not much going down. Like, it's only, like,
Yeah.
necessity kind of thing versus when you're really deep down into the deeps where, like, there's a lot more bridges. Because each of these, and this is, like, a good way to explain it. I mean, like, I don't like the Roman architecture, but, like, these are the different caverns, like, into the walls. And so there's these bits of stonework bridges that kind of intersect. And so each of, like, those, like, you know, entrance ways are kind of lit, and probably that's where you hang your dwarf tags. We gotta come up with a better name than that, because I feel like I'm like then referring dwarves to dogs, and I don't like that.
Like you said, time cards. Just put their time cards up.
Dwarven time cards, D cards. That sounds weird too. Workshop that later. Anyways, but that's kind of the look of it. So you guys begin to head down into the cavern where the 3 dwarves went missing. And what are you guys doing? Are you guys just like moseying along? Are you looking for a dwarf? Are you inspecting the area?
Well, imagine.
Also, one thing I want to know, because I don't know this: how do dwarves see color, and how does Valar see color in the dark?
I'll
Because
let
technically an illusory torch does not count.
Jay go first. For dwarves.
For Thorgil, it would be seeing color, but it would be kind of muted.
So it's like off color.
So everything would be kind of muddled. Yeah, off color. sort of vague, but he can still pick stuff out.
Oops. Sorry, I'm moving around on your character sheet. It just
Yeah, so kind of be like after sunset when everything sort of mixes together. Unless it's bright light.
Okay.
cannot discern color and darkness, only shades of gray. There we go. So you're actually the same as the gnome.
That works. Okay.
Is it
I was
dark?
specifically
Is it
asking.
dark down here or dim?
Dark.
Dark. Okay, so yeah, we just
Because the dwarves don't need to light up this place. Like that's one of the reasons that mainly because D&D built it this way, but that's one of the reasons that gnomes and dwarves live underground is because they literally can see underground. Like they can see in pitch darkness. They don't need lights. Unless they're looking for color.
Right.
So Valar, what's your
For me, have y'all ever seen like Big Gary's mod or something where someone like opens up console and puts in full bright and it just removes all darkness? It's basically like I could see as if it was sunlight up to the limit.
so you can see full color in everything.
Everything. Except suddenly there's 120 feet out, there's just a wall of blackness.
Okay, so that's like the your computer has not rendered this far
Yeah.
screen. Awesome. Okay, cool. I just need to know for like coloration and stuff.
Your eyes have rendering issues.
That's like double what the rest of them, which is really fucking weird for any of the underground people that like. I think that's probably like one of the things is like Valar is he's like, oh, there's a fort coming up on the road and like it's beyond what the dwarf and the gnome can see.
we're kind
And
of
you guys
pissed.
are like, the fuck? Like
I imagine
as he's like
when,
he's like hunched over, like almost like halfway, like staring forward through these tunnels.
I imagine my eyes kind of my dark vision is in effect kind of shine as if like when you like shine a flashlight in the darkness and you see like raccoons and stuff. Eyes
Yeah, or
like
like
that.
gators, where like you get that
Yeah, or
sheen.
gators.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So you guys begin going down there. So what's your purpose? What are you doing? What are you looking for?
Well, imagine it's already been looked through casually before when people just stopped coming back.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely been. I mean, as the guy said, there has been investigations in these tunnels to a point.
So we need to find where that point is, and we need to be a bit more thorough about it.
Yeah. Do we know if people have been down here after people went missing, or
They're
has
pe-
it
they're-
been
they're
closed
peop-
off
There's
like
people
the
down there
last
right now. Just because people went
Okay.
missing doesn't mean that they stopped working. 'Tis the dwarven way.
So
They're probably more armed than usual, Thorgil. Assuming that there's like a bullet or a remoraz like that's made a home down here that they need to like fight off, but that's the way they deal with it is if something attacks you, kill it. We're not gonna stop production because there might be something down here.
Okay.
Makes a certain amount of sense. We'll be
I think.
relying on
So-
Thorgil's stone sense a lot, I believe.
Yeah, but we don't even really know what we're looking for, so we should just kind of wander, right?
I would look for somebody
See any
to.
unusual marks on the walls, like what I saw in the tombs?
In perception check.
Why not? I'll help you out with this in my inability to actually see.
I'm not rolling well tonight.
No, you're not.
Yeah, let's see if
According to Beavis's eyes, what do I see?
What does he see?
My life through Beavis's eyes.
Can I put like? That's a lot bigger than 5 feet. I'm only doing a minor illusion. I wanted like a beholder to show up.
Yeah, no. So you notice that there is scratch marks down here. You're not sure as to like, quote unquote, are they the same as Thorgil? But you notice that there's like high up on the walls, like, which isn't much. I mean, like you're kind of bent over at like, you're hunched at like maybe like 5 feet, right? So you're like 6 foot something, right?
Close, just shy 6.
So your head's ducked down. You're kind of like leaning forward pretty heavily, but you're not like, you know, down on your knees or anything like that. They've cleared it out a little bit because they got to get carts and packs full of shit down here and beams and whatnot. You notice that along it there are weird scuff marks, like something's been scratching its way down high up. It would be like if someone like took a pick and just held it along like the tops, or like lots of picks. Like the scratch marks seem like these very consistent lines going down, and it's a little weird.
Seem like something a golem would do.
And of course, everyone else notices this.
Is that a question for me?
He stated it like a statement, but I mean, you can probably clarify that.
Yeah. Maybe I investigate and see if it seems
I did
like.
and it more as a question.
I don't think one could even get down here.
There might be other paths to here. Or it could have been built down here, or I don't know.
Oh, that's
Beavis. I think this would be good intelligence check, or maybe a history check about golems. That like, could a golem actually get through here? Is what I'm kind of thinking. You're kind of going off of.
Ooh, okay. I will definitely do an intelligence check because I have Artificer's Lore, so I had twice my proficiency bonus.
That would work.
So I roll it as normal, and then I add a 3 to it, right? So 28. Holy shit.
It would have to be a smaller golem.
But they make smaller golems.
There are different sizes, but usually they're intended to do things that dwarves or gnomes can't do, and therefore they are bigger.
I thought you said that the golems are used for mining a lot.
For hauling.
Oh, so the dwarves bring it up, and then instead of okay.
They don't do the actual like thing, but like the transportation of shit.
Okay.
They would do. But in the case of even with the golems that do get down here, they are of a smaller make, but they wouldn't cause those scratches. And I think the thing that like really like this is totally golem-esque, and the because like you rolled so fucking high that I could just give you like stupid fucking explanations to things. A golem could definitely do this, and it is within the pattern of a golem, because like it would just carry on and not care about the fact that it was grinding against the walls. But there's something about it that doesn't seem golem-esque in its nature. Particularly that, because like if that was a situation of a golem doing that, they like the golem would have been built to proper proportions so that it would not have caused this. Like that's where the kind of the issue of this goes is you're like, this could totally be done by a golem, but there's no fucking reason that a golem would ever come down here to do this kind of damage to the tops of these caverns or these tunnels, so to speak.
So probably something
nature.
more organic.
It gives you that organic-esque nature, or some douchebag that has control of a goblin or a golem that doesn't understand them properly, or something like there's just something it doesn't match up logically to realistically. Like
So all the flavor and none of the calories.
yeah.
I guess I would say that to them. Like I don't know how it really would or could be a golem. It seems like maybe some sort of
creature, and I'll start kind of naming a bunch of like local large burrowers that could have done it.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that you realize is like even large burrowers would not work well in this cavern.
So I guess as I'm naming them, I'll kind of like slow
You're
down
like kind of
and be
checking them as like couldn't be a bullet, couldn't be a remoraz, couldn't be a hook horror, and you're like just sitting there and you're like no, no, no.
Can I roll like biology to see if there's something I don't clock off the list?
Sure.
Well, I don't have biology.
Well, it'd be an intelligence check. History, intelligence.
No.
I guess
Nope. Nothing to
engineering.
do.
Wait, that's an
Isn't it
intelligence save.
Yeah,
I guess
you
it doesn't
get a
matter. The
save.
numbers are the same.
Yeah, saves is fine. Put down.
All right. Then I guess I'll tell him I don't know what the hell this was. I know it's probably not a golem. I know it's not a remoraz or a hook horror.
Well, we don't have to be concerned about it just yet, but
Can I follow the scratch marks?
They keep going down and down and down and down and down.
to the floor. Like, wait, where is this? Is this like a vertical shaft?
This is a slanted shaft that goes deeper. Remember, this is an exploration shaft. And as you guys are going down, Riley notices this, and it slowly starts like points it out, and you guys slowly start following it down this tunnel, and it goes on and on and on and on down this tunnel.
I mean, are there any exits on this tunnel, or does it just keep going down anyway?
Well, eventually they will like have like a landing, and maybe they'll have like an extra couple branches, depending on materials and whatnot. I mean, like you don't know the proper protocols for this shaft particularly, but as far as you guys can see, which is essentially Valar's perception of this tunnel, you see these lines because now that it's been pointed out, Valar, you can see them, and it goes off until you hit that black wall of nothing.
Okay. Huh. Well, we should follow these lines. Maybe they'll take us to the den, or where they broke through.
Cool. So you guys continue downward, and you go probably another 600-700 feet, and you reach a like a landing area, kind of like a we're gonna pause here and possibly branch into other locations. And when you get there, Valar, you see it first because you can see in daylight. You see red all up in front of you, basically. It's got that almost 45-degree angle, and then there's like a platform, but basically that landing that you see blood, and just sticky redness all down in that region up ahead. So you see this before anyone else does.
Oh.
Okay, guards up. There's something up ahead. It looks real bad. It's not great.
How?
I guess I should say these tunnels are only about 2 people's width across to give you like an indication.
Okay.
It's a tight fit, but you could fit 2 people.
Wait. 2 people, like me people, or like Beebus people?
Like Thorgil people, which is more like you people, because Thorgil people are thick people.
Okay.
Racist. But yeah.
I mean, Beebus is small. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. I mean, Beavis is technically a small character. Dwarves, I think, still fall under the small category.
I think they're medium. They're medium.
I think they're medium.
Yeah,
And I think the only reason they're medium is really
they're
because
medium.
Yeah. So this would fit 2 medium people tightly across, tunnel-wise, because they do have thick golems down here.
But I got plenty of room to move, so I weigh
Alright.
40 pounds.
Well, as we approach, I would definitely try to take the lead.
Wait.
Because you would kind of anyway, just because you can see in the dark.
Is this fresh?
Looks like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say Valar. It definitely seems fresh.
They may need to add another check to this.
Does
this
it?
line.
Does it? We didn't ask when the peoples disappeared, did we?
Not really. No.
Nope.
Fruitcake. And this is at a landing, so it keeps going down after this.
Well, it reaches a landing, at which point it would then further down or go straight, depending on where the dwarves felt that caverns would lead or be created and found.
Gotcha.
Sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down, sometimes they go to straight. I mean, it really depends on their dwarven knowledge and intuition of rock and stonework.
Well,
all you can do is press on.
that's true. We move forward.
Can we like
Alright.
ready in action fifth edition or something? Like I would like to be
Yeah, you
alert.
could totally ready.
I'd like to roll a sneak check.
Yeah, snake checks are totally possible. Give me a sneak check.
Where's stealth?
Yeah, I guess I kind of have to. I'm terrible at it.
18's pretty good.
And I'm in
7's
the.
not so out. 14's not too bad.
So I'm just
Now,
moving like
Thorgil-
slightly quieter than normal.
You're wearing
Ah,
Gale mail, right?
Plate
Oh.
mail.
Right, so I have to wear. I have to do
Disadvantage.
it with disadvantage, huh?
So you roll 2, take a lower. So roll me another one, and we'll just take the lower. There you go. So, not too bad.
Still stealthier than the other half of our.
I think I think totally like Beavis is just like he keeps on talking about like how like there's no way that a golem would be down here and blah blah blah, like while everyone else is like trying to be stealthy, and so but even when he's trying to be stealthy, he just goes from, oh well, obviously due to the stonework, you would understand, he just keeps talking just at a quieter voice, stage whisper kind of thing.
Stage whisper.
And when you get down to the landing, you see that this landing extends about it's kind of circular in nature, and it's about a 30-foot diameter area, and the entire thing is just coated and actually dripping with little bits of meat from the ceiling and blood. There's little bone fragments slowly
Okay,
on the wall.
when did we get to Chaos Gate?
Yeah, right.
Are we in Boston?
And kneeling down in the middle of this blender of dwarf guts and goo, assuming that it's dwarf, is you see Leighton Blackblast, and he scoops his hand and scoops a lot of the blood, and he's looking at it, and then he looks behind you and he goes, "Well, this is a surprise." And I don't remember his fucking voice, so that's the voice.
I think
You were going with pompous.
Right. That was kind of pompous, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I literally wrote for him male, bashful, medium voice, middle-aged. So that was the voice that I came up with for him. So, and he looks at you guys all like that, and wow, this is a surprise.
What exact? Wait, I'm not gonna say anything.
And you see his robes are a little bit hiked up around his ankles, so as to not drag through the meat mess. That's gonna be my new favorite description of things tonight.
yeah.
I want to roll initiative.
Yeah, what the hell's going on here?
Well, Beavis, I mean, let's be fair. If you want to roll initiative to do
No,
something.
not yet. But I don't like Leighton in the best of cases, and this seems incredibly suspect. So I'll let Valar take the lead, and I'm going to keep an eye on him, and I
Can I
want to
roll
ready.
perception to see if there's anything unusual?
Ooh.
Okay, so here's my question: are you rolling perception to see if there's anything unusual, i.e., something that you can't see normally, or are you rolling investigation to perceive if there is something visibly in this room that stands out that shouldn't be here? Because this is where we're gonna get tricky. If you're trying to perceive something that's normally not visible, i.e., forensics, that's perception. If you're just trying to discern shit about this room, that's investigation.
I'll go with perception, yeah.
Okay, cool.
think I want to. I'm gonna go with investigation. I want to see what's up with Leighton. I want to see if he looks different than he did before, or
He's a werewolf.
yeah. I guess I just kind of want a better understanding of like where he's at right now. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
does it look like he's investigating, or does it look like he's savoring?
Yeah. So let's go with the investigations. Valar, are you not doing any roll?
I'm not great either way, but
I'm just wondering because I saw your name wasn't on my list.
Yeah.
2. Thorgo, Valar, you're not really into it. You're kind of like surprised by just the sheer amount of blood dripping from like the ceilings and walls and stuff. Riley, the only thing that you really notice as far as like immediate things is this is hella recent because blood doesn't do this normally. It doesn't drip from ceilings.
Yeah.
You notice that Leighton is completely clean. Like, there's no blood on him besides what is on his hands as you watched him scoop it through the blood to look at it. That's the only blood on him. And I'd even say he looks fairly genuinely surprised that you're here. But that's the extent of your visual indications. Beavis, Leighton seems normal. He's maybe a little bit peakish in nature. Dealing with murder scenes was never something that Leighton... You know Leighton pretty well because you worked with him. Mm-hmm. He's not a gruesome guy, and he's kind of giving off that vibe where, like, the only thing that makes him capable of being in this room is his inquisitive nature over the fact that this is making him sick. And that's probably the only reason he probably isn't retching right now. So he's if you could see colors, he'd be green.
Okay. I don't tell the rest of the party that.
Okay. Valar, if he rolled a better perception, he would see that too. Because he, like, visibly his color is different, so you would see that. But that's about it.
So what were you saying to him, Valar?
So what's going on here?
He looks at you and he goes, well, obviously there's been a murder.
And quite a spectacular one at that.
How did you get this far down?
This quickly.
He looks at you and he gives you like all the disdain that a gnome could give a dwarf, and he goes, I walked here.
He walked into that one.
With all that weight?
What's that?
With all that weight on you? This ain't exactly the place for exercise, lad.
I think it's a perfect place to get exercise, and I did beat you, fatty.
I would know that Leighton's not exactly a big risk taker, right? That doesn't seem to be part of his personality.
Yeah, it's totally not a thing for him.
Why the hell did you come down here alone? Why were you willing to come down here alone? It's the deeps, right? Shit's dangerous. People missing. Somebody got murdered here like 10 minutes ago.
He kind of like, you see him like kind of like do like one of those like it's almost like a I'm not a cool shrug, like not the like I don't really give a shit. He's just like, I don't know, kind of like shrug. And he goes, honestly,
I spoiled little rich kid, and he didn't even think about the fact that it's dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
That little shithead. Okay.
And he's like, honestly, I knew that there were dwarves down here, and I was going to ask them questions about their missing comrades, and the next thing I know, I walked into this. And like as he does that, like a bit of bone like drops down and smacks him like right above the the forehead and like drips down. He goes, oh, then he like takes his non-bloody. No, he takes the bloody hand and goes to wipe it away, and it smears more blood. He goes, oh, and then you see him sit there and then he goes, and like quickly like that's like the strings like he like whips them and like a prestidigitation happens and he like cleans the blood from his face in his hand and like it like wicks and smacks one of the walls nearby.
This is
Ew.
not the line of work for the faint of heart.
He doesn't acknowledge that. He's more like it tripped on me.
Yeah, it'll do that often. You get used to it.
Well, have you learned anything new about, anything interesting about being Danny?
Well, I was only here a few minutes before you all. The best I ascertained was that there was a murder.
Okay. Well, good timing. On our way
Yeah.
down, we found some strange scratch marks along the tops of the passageway, and we were following them here. So it seems as if our murder suspect is quite large.
And close.
And very close by the looks of this murder scene.
Yeah. Do we know how recent this was? Can we try and figure it out? This
Medicine.
blood is.
Medicine check?
Basically, this is autopsy level type shit. You need to understand coagulation of blood.
Let's do it! Not one!
Oh, not that one.
Happened last week.
Technically, medicine falls under intelligence, I think, too, which makes it like reasonable.
It's wisdom.
Oh,
It's wisdom.
Yeah, I don't know
Wisdom?
why that's
Close
wisdom.
enough.
You know what? I
it's-
bet they had too many things that were in.
There's actually
But I
not
mean-
that much stuff that's in.
Because I mean, I did EMT paramedic, and like a lot of it is experience, and that's wisdom based versus like knowing what to do. Also, that like totally falls into like the ability to act under stressful situations, so I can see that. Yeah, you all don't know. Thorgel, you're probably the closest, but
But you don't need to do a medicine check to tell it's recent.
Shit be fresh. That's about the extent that you get.
Okay.
But how fresh you? This is a lot different than rigor mortis. Like,
Wait a minute.
Tasted.
Fruitcake. I'd like to roll a perception check checking for footprints.
sure.
Do I see footprints that don't belong? Like that are not Leighton's or ours?
Yeah, first we need to investigate the room.
So looking about the room, you check all. So there's 4 side tunnels, going at various degrees.
So we're in
one
like a little
up-
hub where the murder was, and they're okay.
Right. And so there's 1 tunnel that goes up, 2 tunnels that go straight, and 1 that goes down. And you quickly check about the room, both the tunnel that you came from and the other 4 tunnels, and none of them have footprints.
What about scrapes along the near the top?
Not even Leighton's?
Not even Leighton's. I mean, there's. I mean, like the entire floor is covered in blood. So what you're really looking for is like, do blood footprints go to other locations? Is what I think. Like, right? That's what you're looking.
I
for.
want to. I was looking for.
Follow the trail of blood.
I like it's follow the trail of blood, or somebody. If this is fresh, somebody has had to have either they were walking and then leaving this blood splatter behind them, or the blood splatter was obviously in front of them and they had stepped in it, leaving like a congealed footprint of some sort.
Okay, yeah. So you're also looking for like imprints. And
Yes. Yes.
Got it. Okay. So that changes things by 1 degree. All the tunnels you see do not have any blood going to them whatsoever. Minus like some trickles of blood. No footprints, no nothing like that.
Just the
None from the tunnel that you came from either, going in or out of this tunnel. However, you do find that let's do a dice roll. / delay. You do find a single pair of footprints. A little bit next to Leighton, but nothing like particularly far. And they're They're like size 17 shoes in like length, but they're not shoes. It's actually like a clawed, cute like Bigfoot level type footprint in this.
I mean, I wouldn't know what kind of thing would leave that, so I would bring that to somebody more familiar with the area, such as, you know, anybody more familiar with the area, and ask them, "Alright, do you know what this belongs to?"
History checks.
I can do that.
Nat 20!
Motherfuck.
That's what Beavis is good at. I built a guy who could investigate shit. I can illusion and I can trick people, or I can investigate.
So, Beavis, I'm gonna kind of cockblock you a little bit, but I'm gonna kind of give you as much as I humanly can on this.
It's not like, oh, this is a deer track. I don't know exactly what species it is. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. So this belongs to the giant family. As far as things go, it's definitely a fleshy entity. This is not. Basically, what I'm going to do is instead of like telling you this is what it is, I'm going to tell you this is what it's not, kind of thing.
So it's not a golem.
It's not a golem.
It's not a tumor.
Not a Duma.
Not a Duma.
Not a Duma.
This definitely belongs to the giant family. So you're looking at something along the size of like an ogre, but not as big as a giant because giants are too big. So like an ogre, a half ogre maybe that's a little too small. Like a cyclops would probably be right in this lane, like area, and Etten would be right in this area. That kind of entity.
Big ass scary humanoid.
And bestial, feral, deadly as fuck. But that's what you kind of get from that pair of footprints.
I would like to share that information with the party, and like lecture style, I want my mage hand to be like pointing to things and the footprint and stuff. Like you see this tarsal ridge here, you can see.
Yeah, it's like due to the curvature of the heel and the length between the tarsals and the
yeah. And I want to make it clear to
Leighton
that he's a dumbass for not using mage hand and getting all dirty and like I'm completely clean.
Oh yeah, so like you actually scoop the blood with like the mage hand to kind of like and exactly.
Well played.
Why would one of those be down here?
Can it barely fit in here?
Beavis,
well, we've seen evidence that it could.
A performance check to see how sheepish you make Leighton look.
Okay, I have no performance, so yeah.
You have no performance.
He looks a little.
So
sheepish.
you do a good job, but Leighton, as also an intellectual, does not. He's like, I use prestidigitation to just clean myself off. I'm not that impressed with this.
So I guess I would say to Riley's question, I couldn't tell you what exactly this is, but there are creatures in the giant family that make their home underground. I actually don't know enough about D&D monsters to know if that's true, but that's it.
They often make them their homes in caves. Nothing this deep.
This deep is unusual? Okay, then I guess that's not what I would say.
And which way... Wait, why is there only...
Wergar would make their homes that deep. Actually, deeper than this. They're the dwarf cousins that basically never see the light. They live like deep.
Oh,
same with the Dwergar.
Wergar.
They're basically the deep.
I thought those were little.
They're dwarves.
Yeah.
They're little. I'm just saying, like that's the of humanoid.
Oh, okay.
I mean, giants actually fall into a separate category, but humanoid, Dwergar, deep gnomes, illithid, technically drow fall into that category, but not in my world because they live above ground. Mm-hmm. But under the normal circumstances, drow.
Wait, where the hell do drow live?
They live over on the island.
You know, the one that...
Dark elf. I just phrase them as dark elves because they're technically dark elves, and I don't like using drow because it has these odd connotations that immediately make you think Tritz to Uridin, Mesoparazin, and shit like that. I don't want that. So they're just dark elves. So
I guess I'll relay that information. I'll say
so no matter what, this is uncommon. There's no big entities. I'm trying to think. I'm quickly like running through the monster manuals in my head. Maybe there is the odd one or two, because you can't account for everyone. You can't like hand wave. Oh, no ogres go this deep.
Umber Hulk.
But most of them don't.
Umber Hulks are technically more like insectoids, so they would leave different footprints.
Okay.
Beavis would know that with a nat 27 check. You would
So-
know that for Hulk.
Wait, so there's only the one footprint.
One set of footprints.
So the two, so like 2 feet, like in the dirt, just like so, or in the blood.
Standing at like they are at different angles, but I mean like
Like they were standing as opposed to walking.
they were in action at some point.
Okay. Which direction are they? Does it
And
see?
it didn't walk off any of the tunnels.
And yeah, they're like kind of semi in the middle of the
Stop here.
room as far as things go.
What's directly above it?
Ceiling, bloody ceiling, jelly ceiling.
Are there scratch marks on the ceiling or on the upper wall?
I'm gonna say, because you're looking for it, you would recognize that. I'm gonna nat 20 you on this. All throughout the top, there are scratch marks. It's covered in blood now, but because you're looking for it, I'm not gonna say no, because you rolled a 3. You didn't see these things that are blatantly fucking obvious if you looked hard enough. You see that throughout this room, there does seem to be those same scratch marks that came from the tunnel in this room. They're just covered in blood right now.
Okay, so if I go to one of the go to the intersection, can I see which way the scratch marks are going?
You see that there are no other scratch marks
They just stop at the footprints.
in this room. Well, not in the footprints, in the other, like in this room. Like, you go to all the other intersections, there are no scratch marks. Only the one that you came down to. It's just this room.
And it's a dead end. It's a dead end room, or
No, there's 4 tunnels
There's
that
4
leave
tunnels
this room.
other than the one you came down to. Technically 5 tunnels.
Okay.
One coming down to this one, and then 2 going straight, 1 going down, and 1 going up. This
My understanding of this is that this is like the end of the road. Like at the end of if we go down those 4 tunnels, we're not going to find other dwarves.
okay. So there's exit on each side, right?
I don't know if there's survivors, but obviously some of the dwarves that came down here are the meat of this room.
I'm
Can
gonna
we
send
Find
the
any
Malk
of
and
the dwarf
Well-
cards?
Wait a second, Valar. I wanted to, I think maybe without risking your pseudo dragon, I wanted to cast my firebolt cantrip down each of the tunnels.
Sure.
I think it only goes like 120 feet, but it's a free action, and I figure maybe we'll see something when the light goes down the tunnels.
Yeah, sure. Huh?
I said, I was gonna say, or you'll accidentally shoot some.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot high. That's why I was asking, because I don't think there are
Shoot
many
along like
miners
the
down
ceiling.
here. Yeah.
That's why Dancing Lights is a good cantrip.
Yeah, but I don't have that, so I'm just gonna throw a fucking bomb
Or
down
the
there.
light cantrip, and you basically shoot them through like an arrow, like you do like a crossbow bolt, and
Okay.
light up like the thing.
Yeah, but you still have the chance of hitting somebody with a crossbow bolt.
Yeah, but you aim high, so you don't hit them.
Well, that's what I'm doing.
Because I was gonna do the same thing with a bullet, was just pop and light, pop, fire.
Well, because you're higher, so you would shoot over.
So he's firing a fireball.
Essentially,
Firebolt,
a light
it's
fire.
small.
Yeah. So Beavis, you walk to each of the tunnels, and you fire the bolts down each of the tunnels as far as you can go, making sure that if anyone is down there, they'd have an easy time ducking otherwise. And perception check.
Make the investigation.
Because you're trying to perceive something.
Damn, I'm awesome at anything int, but I guess actually perception is
Nothing. You launch the
Perception's
fireballs down
wisdom.
each of the tunnels. Particularly, I think like I will say at least with an 8, because like you can see that there are no scratch marks from whatever those like high scratch marks are in the tunnels. You see that they don't exist down there. Also, you see that there's no blood from like these footprints don't trail down any of these tunnels.
Okay.
Mercy, do I have this drawing correct? Like, that's roughly what the room looks like?
I don't know what that middle thing is.
You said up, so I wasn't sure if it was something that went straight up or not.
Like, I figured it was like a strong slope, right? One is a strong slope up, one's a strong slope down, and the other two are like just kind of straight off to the side. Because you said they were like steep slopes.
Kind of like that. Think like that. So like 2 go straight, 1 goes up, 1 goes down.
Okay, so...
I'm gonna send Grimalkin back up the way we came,
Uh-huh.
following the scratches, and seeing the terminus that way, where they stop up that way.
Oh, so you're trying to figure out if like it started here and it went up versus like...
Yes, I think we may have walked
Wouldn't we
past
have run into it coming down?
Which way are the footprints facing?
Basically what he's trying to figure out is are there scratch marks going to somewhere else?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
we just
okay.
Kind of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like it started here, went up the tunnel, scratching its way out, and then went a different way, and basically you're at the start point versus the end point. Sure, that's gonna take a little bit. So Grimalkin goes up there. You know what to look for. Grimalkin knows what to look for. You head up there.
Wait, so which way are the footprints facing?
Kind of like they're on the side here. Let me do a thing real quick.
He's got dark vision, so I don't have to babysit him.
So there's like a footprint here, and like another footprint here.
So they're pointing somewhat...
So it was just kind of standing in the corner looking out into the room.
Check
Kinda like
corners.
that.
Oh.
That's
Like
bizarre.
and they have that weird indentation, like the one that's the upper left one looks like it's a movement towards the location, towards the like this one, and then the other one looks like where you guys came.
So it was 2 figures, and they only had 1 leg each.
I like that math. Obviously, it was 2 peg-legged men.
With a banana-shaped scar on his cheek.
Yeah, exactly.
A wooden arm.
Yeah. But yeah,
Can I
that's
find
kind of the...
any of the dwarf tags of the people we're missing?
They would all be at the front.
Like-
Oh, you're looking for the second tag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would imagine
Like the
there'd
tags
be a
people we're missing.
Right.
they'd wear something to identify themselves.
Yeah, after a quick, brief look around, you find that there are... Let's see, how many dwarves would be down in the tunnels? You find 7 dwarf tags down here.
Oh man. That
That's
Is
two.
way-
That's
Oh.
2 more than we're missing, right?
Yeah, so maybe this would be like...
Or 1 more than we're missing.
all of those were over time and in different
There was-
places. This is all of that combined in one spot at the same
So
time.
we found like a lair.
Yeah.
Or wait, no, they're missing. So we may have found the layer, yeah.
But why is he collecting all our tags?
Well, total there were 5 from
The
a
report.
period of time.
From
3
these 2
and 2.
tunnels, but there are ones in
Yeah, there were other tunnels.
We'll have to determine if they're fresh or not. If they're new instances of missing.
And Leighton's still just standing around here doing whatever.
He's actually listening to you talk, and you see him like kind of. He's got that like cogs are spinning as like he's taking what you're saying and he's trying to like deduct what you're saying and using it into something usable.
All right, Leighton.
Leighton, as strained as our relationship may be, you have the occasional good idea.
Always.
Do you have something
Always
to
occasionally.
add here? Like, what do you think we're dealing with? What you're supposed to be investigating this as well. As distasteful as it may be, shouldn't we do our best to save lives?
He thinks for a second. He goes, "I don't think that this is a lair. I feel that this is a new hunting ground situation as far as this creature is concerned.
Late.
Well, what
Which
the fuck do you
means-
know?
That we would be dealing with not 5 disappearances, but 5 disappearances and 7 murders.
Like,
Elaborate.
there's 7 bodies down here. There are 5
Yeah.
people missing.
There's people that have been working. The 5 people that have been missing, the 2 down the other shaft and the 3 that were disappearing down here were a while back. This is fresh. As he quickly slightly to like tell Beavis I can do it too. He does a mage hand and scoops up a little bit of the blood and tilts it and lets it dribble out of the mage hand.
Does Leighton have a character sheet?
Yes.
He has the cantrip mage hand?
Yes, he does.
Alright, that bastard. I thought I had him dead to rights.
Mage hand is a very classic
I know.
cantrip.
Even
for
I
wizards.
have it. I don't use it, but I have it.
Yeah, I never
Like-
use it either, but we should use it. It's cool.
The main reason, particularly, that you want is because you can cast from it, which essentially
Oh.
extends your range by 30 feet.
Hell yeah. So if we have a touch spell, I can just slap somebody with my hand and...
Right. So, for example, the proper way to do any touch-based fire attack, or like a burning hand, or not a burning hands. What's that one?
Shocking grasp?
Shocking grasp. The proper way to do it is to mage hand shocking grasp something, so that you, as the mage, never have to get close to the thing to do a melee casting spell.
So you can just keep running the entire time.
Basically, do your full 30 movement, have the mage hand move with you, and constantly from behind try to slap whatever it is with a shocking grasp.
Wait,
Obviously, it'll dash and fuck you in a turn, but
flipping goblins.
So,
but
Leighton
that's how you
says
do that.
something's out here hunting.
Yeah.
What-
So anyway, he gets
Probably
to
right.
basically what he's explaining is that the 5 missing persons was earlier to this. As he understands it, this is fresh. This is new, which means we have more people added to the total as far as this situation is concerned. So we have 5 missing persons, and we have, from what Thorgil found, 7 murders, all in this immediate vicinity of 2 tunnels. And this happened within 30 minutes of you all arriving here, is what he's kind of thinking.
I'm
Leighton,
going to take this opportunity to patch into Grimalkin's senses and just monitor that while they're talking.
Sure. Grimalkin notices that there are a few scratches of interesting wear headed off towards the ancestral tombs.
and Leighton, they have multiple entrances down here. How'd you get here?
Well, I came down here the same way that you all did. However, I naturally went down the paths that needed to be taken to be investigated. I knew where the 5 disappearances were.
Yeah, I don't see Mage Hand being able to cast a spell there.
I didn't mean to share that, and I think it maybe says something in the rest of Wizard.
No, I've been looking at it too, because I was trying to figure it out for that Arcane Trickster I was using for Cloric's one-shot.
Wait, which is share?
There's something in there. I'll look it up later, but I'm pretty sure Mage Hand has the ability to cast a spell directly from it. Anyways. So anyways, moving on while I quickly look that up just because now I'm OCD. What do you guys do?
I don't
Well,
let
the-
this thing live. I think we should hunt it down.
I'm just
Well, shouldn't we go off towards the ancestral whatchamajiggers? Because
Yeah, I'll relay. Scratch.
oh yeah, I'm not psychic, so I can say
Heading
that.
back up the way we came. Would I know they came towards the ancestral? Anyway, they go towards the tombs,
Just point.
So-
yeah. They go that way.
which seems to line up with what Thorgil saw earlier.
I would say not to seem foolhardy, but let's chase that bitch. It's close
That's
by.
next on
We
our
gotta.
list anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just
Well,
curious.
first,
Okay,
you're curious?
I'm just curious as to the fact that there's no like how big are these other tunnels compared to the one we came in at?
I must be thinking of old school Mage Hand because you were right. There is nothing telling me that you can do that. That used to be a thing that you could
was
do.
that like 3.5 or 4th edition?
I'm thinking like all the way
That-
back to like second
What-
edition,
Bullshit.
or
Wouldn't be
second or
fourth,
third.
I think had Mage Hand.
So
But yeah,
There used to be ways that you could extend your distance through
Maybe it was like
magical
a feat or
cantrips.
something. Also, my familiar can do that.
it acts as touch, yeah.
Yeah.
First, we need to notify the foreman about this incident and assure him we're on the case.
Versi, how big are these other tunnels compared to the one we came in on?
About the same, maybe a tad smaller.
And there's no scratch marks at all.
And
So yeah, it's legitimately he's bringing people here, doing. Does it look like there's any fresh work here at all? Can we tell with all of the blood, or?
you mean like fresh stonework?
Yeah.
I'm gonna just hand wave and say there is no fresh stonework in this room.
Okay.
The tunnels would show the most fresh stonework, but this was a landing where they set up base of operations, would store tools and things like that before going off into their own separate.
Is
Alright.
there any tools around here?
None. They're probably
Okay.
further down in the caves.
Alrighty. Well, I say we follow up on Balar's interesting tidbitty
To the tombs?
to the teams.
Okay.
It may be layering there.
Let's go.
Well, first we need to go back up and notify.
Have that thing desecrating the ancestors.
Oh no, Leighton will do it for us.
What? Oh, to inform the foreman?
Good old buddy, old pal, and put my arm on his shoulder. You'll notify the foreman for us, won't you?
Shouldn't we keep him as bait?
Sure. I
That's in
guess I
character.
could take care of that. I'm gonna stay here and see if there's anything that you all missed. But after that, I will inform the foreman.
Good call.
Is this the part where you send Grimalkin all the way back down to the room just to hang out with him the entire time?
I could. I think
I'm
it's
gonna
worth
roll
it.
initiative.
I was just half expecting you to just.
Until Leighton.
What are you gonna do to
You
Leighton?
know what?
Until
Yes.
Leighton. Don't
I'll
stay
call him
too
back.
long. It might come back.
Yeah, he kind of blanches at that, and he goes, "Right, good words of advice."
Well, I guess it doesn't matter. If Grimalkin's not back, I'll just order him to stay with Leighton.
Well,
No.
you can quickly like click into him. He's waiting at the top of the tunnel, a little bit towards the ancestral tomb, but you didn't really tell him to continue going that way. So he's kind of like, I could go this way further, but I'm not planning on it. So I'm just gonna wait.
I'll order him back and stay with Leighton, and then I'll talk to Leighton. He's like, okay, I'm going to leave. Not familiar with you. You can get my attention through him. If you come into any trouble, we'll come and help.
He shrugs at you and he goes, "No need."
No need. Are you
And,
sure?
and he pulls out from his robe. He pulls out a God, what would it be? It's almost like a chinchilla
A chinchilla?
kind of like creature. Beavis, you would recognize that this is kind of like the rodent of the deep. It hops around, but it's kind of like a mouse, and basically it's carnivorous in nature, and it like finds like the scraps of meat from predatory creatures and eats them and things like that. I mean, it's basically like a rat,
How is it not
Weird
eating
scavenger
everything
thing.
in sight?
because it's his familiar. To put it politely, he controls it.
Okay.
But yeah, he's like,
Get a rat familiar. Little scabbard bastard.
and he sits there and he goes, "Hey, Beavis,
Wait, I'm sorry. Who are we talking about?
What?
This is Lane's familiar.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well,
And you
okay.
see just the lightest of little quirks at the edge of its mouth as he says it. Like, haha, I can name multiple characters the same things in this fucking campaign too, asshole.
I guess, yeah, but I did. Well, I guess I'm familiar with the Thorwick character. I'm gonna
So
turn.
is a bartender.
I'm gonna turn to Owly, and I'm gonna say like, it's probably not as tasty as it looks, or something like that. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna, like my
Allie,
familiar's
just
tougher than
chops
yours.
his cheek menacingly.
Okay. Alright, well, if that's what you think, we're gonna go. And I'm gonna change from Malkin's orders to stealthily follow Mr.
After
Back
we leave,
last.
when we're out of line of sight, I want to do a minor illusion of like a growl from one of the tunnels. It's not-
Well, as you leave, I mean, I guess I'm not indicating this. He is sending his familiar with you all.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so we're
Like basically, he's saying
exchanging
there's no
familiars.
need for you to give me your familiar. I will send my familiar with you.
Yeah, but do we trust him?
Well, he's sending his familiar no matter what. He's just saying like there's no reason for you to leave your pseudo dragon here, considering you're going on the more productive path. Is I guess what he's trying to say. Like where you're going is the next step in the investigative journey. So he's bringing his familiar so he can tap into it. But
Okay. In that case, yeah.
which could
understand.
also warn you all that he's in trouble if such a case
Or-
happens.
Or if
It
it,
starts panicking.
or if it just disappears.
Yeah.
Which means he dies. Yeah. If a familiar suddenly disappears, that means the owner dies.
Yep.
Just order him to come back to me then, and then we'll
So
Move on,
we're
I
going to
guess.
meet him anyway, right? So we head back up where
yeah, we'll meet him on the path.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, as we
So-
walk away, the tunnel that comes from down, there's a
Cool.
low grumbling roar.
So
is
I think
Beavis going to hold Beavis.
Hell no.
yeah, you're gonna let little Beavis hop along behind you.
Yeah, he can walk.
Okay, cool. So
No,
yeah, you
Beavis
all,
wouldn't hold any animosity towards him. It's not his fault. It's on his dick.
yeah, exactly. He is an indentured celestial or fiend servant of some
Definitely
sort.
a fiend. Wait, Leighton got a fiend.
Yeah, so you all climb your way back up the tunnel. It's a pretty steep incline, and you get pretty winded doing that all the way up. But eventually you reach the top and start to make your way towards the ancestral area. Thorgil, this is now you're like in your element as far as like directions go. You know exactly where to go. You don't need maps or anything. And you reach the tunnel that leads down towards the ancestral tombs. And I think that's I'd want to go further, but I think that's a really good point because I think anything further is going to take more than 20 minutes. So
Okay.
let's go ahead and
We had
leave
late
it
start
there.
anyway.
Yeah, my fault. But I think that's a good point to call it quits for the night.
Roy do.
Sure. Back to it.
Alrighty. Well, the plot thickens.
Yes, the clot thickens.
Well, there was no clotting there.
Well, that's yeah, I know.
There's just
Not yet.
pure coagulating.
It basically exploded.
They all pop.
Just meat sack.
Which isn't
Total
great.
meat sack. Like a grape.
Grape in the microwave.
Oh, you know what? Next week, we should check if those bars that got attacked had any sort of like cellars or anything connected to the deeps.
Interesting.
Because if my golem theory is wrong, and it wasn't a golem, this creature might have been responsible for those bar attacks as well. Something could have like lured it up from the deeps, or somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I wish I had thought about that an hour ago.
Put it write it down in your scribe journal and say this is what we're doing.
I have so much shit written down on my character sheet. If I don't remember, I don't remember. I'm not. I still have our whole quest log and every character we've ever met.
I don't think someone's keeping notes.
I don't know how effective they are.
But they're there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like in the short term, that doesn't matter as much. In the long term, eventually I'm going to start looping around because I keep track of all my characters. I keep track of all the things you've done, and eventually you'll start running into the same people. Like Dendi will make an appearance at some point because why would she not?
Yeah, but I hope I wouldn't need a note to remember who Dendy is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, depending on how long this campaign goes.
Yeah, it's true. 2 years from now. Yeah.
Yeah, a year and a half from now, Dendi is probably going to be the least likely name you're going to remember out of the other 900 names that I run into your brain in that period of time. Like, you want to deal, like, go ahead, go to Host Truce. Go to Host Truce. Host Truce, my type for Host Truce, because I prepped for Host Truce, because both parties, both my Saturday group and your group, or I mean your group and Sunday group, both have the capability of going to Host Truce randomly without like my knowledge.
Yeah.
So I have ready all the Host Truce stuff. So we're talking power structures, families, the whole 9 yards, and they're the arguably one of the most powerful magical societies in the world. So dealing with like political intrigue, strength intrigue, and magical intrigue all in one city, and
a lot of crap going on.
They have an oligarchy power structure. So like then there's not just it's not just like there's 3 power. It's a triumvirate power structure. And then all the people sucking up to them, who's manipulating who, you know, their entire thing is all of them work anonymously through like magical masks that cover their faces. So who is actually who at any point in time? Like if you try to figure out whose character is who, like you know, is the Baron, you know, von Musel actually the architect? Like I figured out all the web. I had to create the web of that city ready for you guys to deal with if you went there. Because I mean, essentially, like the way that we set up our campaigns moving forward is like you're going to be in Gazneg for a few sessions, and then you're going to leave. Like there's no long, deep plot here. Like the fact that you guys wanted to get involved in the city was up to you. Like. You did, which is great, and I had the story set up. But if you're like, we really don't give a shit about the people getting murdered here. That's not really our thing. The Myth of Guard will take care of it. We're moving on. I had to have ready that fact that maybe you went to Host Truce. So I built Host Truce, and my brain hurt when I built that. It took me 4 days of like constant writing and figuring out onto how shit works inside that city, because I knew I had to be ready for the level of intellect of Beavis to deal with anything in that city.
Sorry.
Oh, it's fine. like think about how well I fleshed out Gazneg. Host Truce took 10 times that to flesh out.
I bet you Gazneg's going to be more fun.
Districts. Like, I mean, it's literally the size of Rome. If that gives
they got a Colosseum there.
They have a Colosseum there.
Wasn't Rome like, how many people were in Rome?
Like 1.1 million people. It's the largest number at that point in time. The until London was built, at no point from that time till London in its prime were more people in a given location at any point in time in history. It was like 1.1 million people, something like that. In its prime.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a big city today.
Yeah, and it's a little bit less. I think I set that for like 932,000 people, but it's still a fucking bustling, crazy, intense city.
Okay.
It's a lot of pockets to pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At its height, the city of Rome surpassed a population of 1 million people when the world population was between 200 and 300 million people at the time.
Oh.
So 1 in 200 people lived in Rome.
Oh.
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
Which is about the equivalent of Tavorel.
Damn.
Like, think about it. Gazneg, I did change it. Gazneg is like sitting at like 87,000.
Wikipedia's got to be lying.
No, that's true because I specifically built it because when I was building this world, I was going through my Roman history podcasts and I built it with Rome running through my brain.
Okay.
So I built, like, I figured out how they would deal with their sewer systems, how they would deal with their water. I literally, like, figured out how to create aqueducts from the mountain ranges to actually be able to populate the human city the way it is. In case Beavis asked, I could actually deal with how you could actually reasonably sustain 932,000 people in host troops.
That's probably something we would ask. Yeah.
In case it was a thing, because one of the things is that there's this huge magical Cold War between them and the High Elf cities, which is only separated because of the mountains, which I actually based off of America and Russia, basically the mountains
Pacifics.
being the Pacific Ocean.
Well played.
And basically the concept of nukes is magic.
I mean, nukes are magic. Let's be real here.
Let's go work for the elves and destroy those
I mean,
aqueducts.
It's that. It's what's that? I think it was like Mark Twain or someone that basically did that thing where it's like any technology that surpasses conventional.
Wasn't that Heinlein?
It might have been Heinlein, but any technology that surpasses conventional reality is viewed as magic. Essentially magic.
Arthur C. Clarke. We were
Arthur C. Clarke. Very close.
Any sufficiently advanced technology is. What the hell? Where did the quote come? Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
There you go. And so I played them. We're getting that weird like background of like how I built my world, but I literally thought of Russia and like even though like the governments are not the same, I built that Cold War concept based out of the mountains. So like one of the things is like when you explore the mountains, there's tons of ruins and things from the past wars between the elves and the humans warring with each other through that mountain range to gain a foothold to do the proper push. But because that mountain is so harsh and so destructive, there's no way to reasonably push the other without
so we
them
should go
having.
loot.
There's significant dungeons, significant ruins. That was the kind of place where I figured if you guys ever wanted to actually build a castle, I figured that would be a baller ass fucking place to kind of do your castle building is somewhere along that mountain range because
All right.
you have somewhere to build off of.
Next week, fuck murder mystery. Let's go grind. Kill a bunch of stuff in the mountains.
Well, I mean, because one of the things, and this is one of those things, like I'm sure some of you have watched like Acquisitions Incorporated like videos, right? Like
I heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Oh, they're phenomenal. There's also a C Team that's a kind of a fairly recent boot up on the Penny Arcade YouTube channel. They're phenomenal. But the way they do their campaigns is basically they run off of a mission system based out of a tavern that's like their home base. And so I wanted to have prepared in case that was something you guys wanted to do, where like basically you could create a stronghold and people would come to you with missions and you would go out and basically protect, take care of the countryside and go off on missions like that until you get even higher because essentially where you guys are, you can handle about a 1 month radius is kind of like the distance that you guys essentially have the power to reasonably go to and deal with. But about the time you guys reach like 10, that's when you get to like crazy magic where it's like, oh, we're just all gonna turn ourselves into clouds and travel 300 miles an hour. And that's when we get into like weird territory where it's like you can literally go across the continent in the course of a few days and weird shit like that. And then basically 15 to 20, well, 10 to that's basically your 10 to 15, and then 15 to 20 is interplanar. So then you're dealing with interplanar entities, liches, beholders on a power trip, dragons that seek to tear reality apart. Literally dragons, because my dragons, there is essentially like one of each dragon in the world, and that's it. Like dealing with like running into dragons is They are literally world bosses as far as like video game is concerned.
Mm.
You may run into them, but like going into their lair and dropping one of these hoes, you have to be 15 plus. They are elder dragons. There is no adult dragons that you know of. Or there are, but they don't let themselves be known. All the elder dragons are named and known. Where they're located, you don't know. I haven't actually written their names because it hasn't come to a pertinence yet, but that is going to be one of those things. I will have all my elder dragons named. I can tell you right now, just because it would be bullshit of me not to, there are adult dragons, but they're
Not super simple.
they're
to
like
find.
sleeping and aging and things like that, because that's how my dragons work. They're four horsemen of the apocalypse level type creatures. It's like they wake up and they bring about the doom of mankind. Like go ahead and look up Tolkien and look up dragons, not
They
small.
scary.
Look up dragons in Tolkien. They are the size of mountain ranges. Like they're huge. And that's what elder dragons are in mine. I didn't want to make dragons these things that just anybody could fucking kill, because that makes me so mad that the greatest and most powerful mythical creatures that mankind has ever been able to conceive can be brought down by a single fucking knight because he wants to save a sleeping bitch that he's never met before in a tower. Fuck
Like a
that.
baby dragon.
Yeah, well, they exist because they have to grow up, but
Yeah. But they hide them well.
well, they're sleeping, they're aging. Probably at some point